Hi guys, this is John McCann, student number 200866617, and just like demonstrate my game, which is Catch the Compost, which is part of assignment 2 in programming fundamentals. First off, to explain the game, this is a game that's designed with the specifications required, which to include numerous classes adhering to encapsulation rules, complete with fields, constructors, getters, setters, and other methods. The usual processing classes are contained, the likes of draw and setup, etc. And there's numerous uses of selection and iteration throughout, as well as arrays for returning scores. But most importantly about it, this is a game it's just a lot of fun. So without further ado, let me demonstrate the working of the game. So if we hit run here on the game, we see that it comes up, the opening dialog box says, welcome to Catch the Compost, where you have to collect as many points as you can in 30 seconds by gathering compost in the bin. Green balls represent apples and they're worth a point. Blue balls are representing blueberries and they're worth 2 points. But red balls representing Coke cans, so they deduct the point from your score. So you're warned to be careful. And then you just type in the dialog box how many games you'd like to play. So I leave it at 3 here. And then it asks for the player name. So I hit John and off we go. As you can see here on the top left, we have the clock, which is counting up to 30. And on the right hand side, we have the score, which is calculates the points as I get them. I have a point there for my green one. I have one for my blue. I'll try and stay away from the red, but look, if I gather one, it takes my score down. So this, as it continues, I'm moving my bin from left to right with the mouse, trying to stay away from the red ball and gather as many green and blue balls as I can in the time allotted, which is almost up to 30 seconds. So we're going to 29, 30. So the first game is over. It informs you I've scored 11. Asks me would I like to play another game, which I say yes. So off we go. We play a second game. Again, trying to stay away from the red balls and gather the green ones, which is time difficult because they seem to be floating down at the same, the random speeds as in floating similarly close together. You're trying to avoid one to pick up the other there. I just got a red one, which I didn't want to get. Again, the timer is moving away on the left hand side up to 30, and the scores, calculating the scores as I get them. So I'm nearly finished my second game, which has me at 7 for my score. It says, would I like to play another game? Look, we'll have one more game. Oops, I've collected a red ball there to start off with. So again, moving the mouse, trying to gather as many scores as I can. Stay away from the red ball. There's apples and blueberries. Not so good this time out. Right, got a score there. Half the time gone. Again, avoiding the red ones if I can. See there now, it's hard to try and avoid a red and gather a green at the same time. Only 2 points this time. So the last 5 seconds, moving the mouse left and right to move the dustbin and collect the compost. Right, my game is over. It says my challenge is over because I played my 3 games. It tells me my score for the first game is 11, for my second game is 7, for my third game is 4, and it informs me my highest score was 11, my lowest was 4, and my average was 7. So I hit OK to exit the program, and now what I do is I'll just talk through the various classes and the methodology I've used in the code to create this game. So if we go into the bin challenge class first, it's my driver class. I've my import JavaX, that's string at the start for my dialog boxes. I have my objects. I have my global fields, my game data there to start. I've got my setup. I have my timer created here, as you can see. I have my player object with the data entered by the user. Within the draw, then I've created my visuals, which is my background clouds and the grass. I've created for my text displays on the screen for my score and for the time. I'm updating here, as you can see in the update and display, updates the balls and bins and player and timer and displays them all. And then I have my if statement here that if the timer is finished, then it returns a game over. So if my time elapsed, which as you can see up here is 30,000 milliseconds, is my 30 seconds, that the game is over. And if the game over is less than the maximum games per challenge, that we obviously get another game, so the balls display again. Now, as you can see within my collision here, it tells me that if the blue ball hits the bin, there's a hit, you get 2 points. The red ball takes a point, and the green ball, it adds a point. So I go down here then, if the timers run out of the game, the player has more games left in the challenge. If the number of games is less than the maximum games, it gives you the option to keep going with dialog box here. You can also quit at this stage, which will end the challenge, as you can see down here, and you will leave the game as such. If not, it resets the game and it starts again. This is my method here to reset the game. With my game over started at denoted as 0 and score as 0, so we start all over again. And this is my method here. This displays the info and the high and low average scores before we exit the game. So your player name, which is using split methods, returns the player name, the number of games played, the highest, lowest, and average score. Then we have our methods for denoting whether the ball hits the bin or misses the bin. So we can see here if it's too far away, have a collision. There's no from the x-axis. There's no collision. It's too far away from the y-axis. There's no collision. And if it's neither of the two of those, there is a collision. So it returns true. That's true for the blue ball, the red ball, and the green ball. So now we go into our bin class. Our bin class is our fields of our x card, y card, our height, and our width and height. Our constructor to set up the various the variables for the bin here. Our update, which checks the horizontal position of the bin with the cursor, and then we draw the bin to the display window. And I've added a few extra features here, which would be the lines on the bin, etc. We have our getter methods, getting our x card, y card, and bin height and width, and our setter methods, which initializes the likes of the width and the height on that side. So the blue ball class then, which would be very similar to the green ball and red ball. We have our fields, so we have our x card, y card diameters, our speed along the x and the y axis. We have our constructor to set up the blue ball and its diameter. We have our update, which changes the ball position and it returns true if the ball actually goes off the screen. And then we have to reset it if the ball leaves the screen. In case the x card, if it's greater than the height diameter, it drops from the top of the screen again. And then to initialize our speed at the top of the screen here, we have our y card is less than the diameter by 2. It initializes the speed at -2 to drop from the screen. If it hits the right edge of the screen, it's a change direction and come over and go the opposite way with a speed of -1, and the same if it's on the other side. If not, then it returns the game over. Here we have our display of our blue ball, which just shows again we're writing the score that's written on the ball, size, and the color of the ball. And then if it hits, we reset the ball because the score has been allocated, but it resets again, so it drops from the top of the screen again. And here we have our getter methods, which are our x card, y card, and our diameter. Our setter methods, which are initializing the diameter of the ball. And here we have our reset. When we reset the ball, the various coordinates of the ball, we have our speed, which is random, our y card, which is 0, and our random width also. So same thing applies here for green ball and red ball. So there's no really need to talk through them. We go into our player class then. We have our declaration of our scores here. We have our constructor, which sets up the player's starting name, the size of the array, and the challenges. Here we set our amount of games that we want to play. We have our getters, and we have our setters here also. And then we have our method to add scores, which counts our scores and increments them as we go on. We have our timer. And finally, we go into the timer class, which as you can see here, my fields, my start time, which is set to 0, total time is set, setter for total time, I have a start method here, and on the display, this creates the counter. And in this instance, I found that the time was starting at the PC time, and I needed to start back at 0. So what I did here was, in the display, I checked the value of the start variable because 0 was not returned from the millis to create my own hard-coded 0 for the counter as shown in the text below. And finally, you see here when the past time is greater than the total time, that ends the game, and you will get the option, obviously, to go forward to another game or that your challenge is over. So basically, that's my game. I hope it has passed all the specifications required, and I hope you enjoy playing it. So thanks very much.